Ariata affects approximately 2% of the population overall, including more than 6.8 million people in the United States alone. And whereas alopecia areata occurs in males and females of all ages and races, with onset most often beginning in childhood. And whereas the National Alopecia Areata Foundation, or the NAAF, is dedicated to providing educational information, creating awareness, and raising funds to advance research of treatments. And whereas the local chapter of the Alopecia Areata Foundation is also dedicated to educating the community through its campaign, Don't Stare, Just Ask, Alopecia, Let's Talk. Now, therefore, I, Frank V. Brocato, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor and John B. Latta as city council president in the city of Hoover in the state of Alabama, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Alopecia Areata Awareness Month in the city of Hoover to create awareness and support the initiatives of medical and scientific research to find better treatments and possibly one day a cure.
Good afternoon. So I'm Angelica Bice, and I just want to thank the mayor of Hoover and all of you all for acknowledging alopecia. Each one of our stories are definitely different, and to begin this proclamation on today is definitely overwhelming, very joyful, and we are all thankful and grateful for you all. And we definitely just thank God for allowing us the opportunity to make this. I'm trying not to cry, y'all, but to make this to give us this opportunity to bring awareness to alopecia, because a lot of people don't know where alopecia is, and there's millions of people who suffer from it, like, worldwide. So again, we just thank all of you all for just giving us this opportunity and presenting us with this proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you.
And, you know, this weekend, gosh, we were struck by several fires, several bad fires, as a matter of fact. But one was not, I mean, it was pretty significant down in the Lake Wilburn area and could have been a whole lot worse. But two young men, Glavin Sparks, Glavin come up, and Caden Harbor, they were out just roaming the neighborhood, having a good time, being young guys that day, and they smelled smoke, and they went and investigated that smoke, and sure enough, they found it to be a house fire. And I think Mom called in. They got Mom to call 911, and their quick action resulted in a dog being saved that surely would not have survived that fire had it gone much longer. So we're grateful to them, and I want to ask our fire chief if he would come up. Oh, he's behind me here. If he will come up, and we would like to, Chief, do you want to say something first, and then we'd like to present them with something.
Certainly, on behalf of the Hoover Fire Department, we're always grateful to recognize citizens in doing heroic things, and we certainly appreciate you. The unique thing about this is the fact that you young men knew what to do. And so that is what we're most proud of. So we thank you for that. And we know that your actions and what you did on Saturday saved lives, probably saved lives, and we know for sure that it reduced property damage. And so we're grateful for you and grateful for your family and all that they have done to teach you what to do. And I think that you acted perfectly on Saturday. And on behalf of the Hoover Fire Department, we are grateful for you both. So if I may, I'll just read. They're getting a certificate, and they're also getting a challenge coin and a battalion chief's pin. And so I'd just like to read what's on the certificate. The mayor and fire chief of the city of Hoover on this day recognizes both of these gentlemen for his outstanding community service on 7/16 of 22. While playing outside, Glavin and Caden noticed the smell of smoke in their neighborhood. They went to check it out, and they smelled the smell and noticed the smoke was coming from a home, and quickly notified Glavin's mom, who was able to quickly call 911. Because of their actions, the fire department was able to respond quickly and to stop loss of property. Also, we feel that this also saved the family dog. So we're grateful for you and thankful for everything that you've done. If the family would like to come up, we'd get some pictures. You want to come up?
Thank you, Mayor. Next, I'd like to call on Ms. Tina Bolt for a financial report.
Good evening. This is our financial report for period ending May 2022. And this will be the 8th month of our fiscal year. And at this point, we should be expecting revenues and expenditures to be around 66%. If you will look at total revenues, our year-to-date actual at this point is $110.8 million. Our total expenditures are $71.3 million. Other sources or uses are $3.9, which gives us a net change in fund balance of $35.6 million. As you can see, for revenue, we are at 78.5%, way above where we would be expected to be at this point in time. And also, our expenditures are lower at 56.5% of where we would expect to be at this point. If we were to close the year today, we would add our fund balance, or our ending fund balance will be $117.7 million. We've talked about this. We noticed the trend last month when we were looking at the April financials, that we are still trending and we're still seeing a large increase in consumer spending, but we will think that's going to start leveling off. We're not seeing nationwide the growth in consumer spending, so that is definitely going to continue to change, but I think we're still going to have a very profitable year this year, but next year, as we start planning for our budget, as we've already been talking about, I think we're going to have to continue to watch what we spend. So looking at our revenues, you can see the percentages here. Total sales and use tax, again, we're above average on that of $70.4 million. Other taxes are coming in at $25.4 million, where that is actually at 94% of what we expected to be. Total licenses and permits are at $8.6 million, which is 89.9% where we expected to be. Total interest, you see a negative percent there. Again, May, we did start to see where when we mark to market, which is a requirement for our GASB reporting, that is, we're still seeing, because of the investments, we're still seeing the market not catching up with what the interest rates are. But May was actually the first month we saw positive. But again, we've had several months where we've had negative mark to market. So that's going to continue to change. But as we've talked about and looked at some of our investments and some of the things that we just, that's on the agenda tonight to move some investments, hopefully doing some of those changes, we'll see that uptake eventually. So again, that's our total revenues of $110.8 million. Looking at what our sales taxes have brought in from last year at this point to this year at this point, we are still trending, again, as I mentioned, above average for general sales tax and above what we brought in last year. You will see casual sales tax, seller's use tax, and consumer use tax, a decline in those. SSUT, of course, continues to rise. And overall, we see an increase from what we brought in last year, which was a very profitable year. We're still trending at 4.4 million above what we brought in last year. So we are definitely financially strong at this point, even regardless of what the market is doing. But again, I think some of the policies that we've talked about and that we've put in place, I think will, once those trends start to change, that we're in a good place financially to be able to weather that. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Bolt? Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call on Major Ron Bradstreet. Major Bradstreet is here with an update from the American Legion.
Please just call me Ron. First off, I'd like to, my name is Ron Bradstreet, 29-year resident of Hoover, better known as Vanessa's husband. And I want to thank the councilmen up here that have been judges for our rhetorical contest and tell you what a great job you did, because the division competition that was hosted by our American Legion Post 9/11, Emma Noble, she won the national, the whole thing, 55 states, $28,000. So I was only the timekeeper, but y'all were the judges and you did a great job. I want to thank you for that so much. And I just want to take this opportunity to bring you up to snuff on some of the things that your American Legion Post is doing. We have a baseball team now it's a middle school junior varsity baseball team, and it just won the state championship. So we're very proud of that. In our upcoming post meeting on the 26th of July, we will be honoring the Hoover Police Officer and Firefighter of the Year. We submitted them for the department or state, and unfortunately, they didn't make it. This is your, but we'll be honoring them on Tuesday night. And before I go away, Miss Melanie Posey was also a judge. Don't forget about her. Also, we have the very first female veteran in the state of Alabama as the American Legion Veteran of the Year, sitting right back there, past post commander for Ryan Winslow, American Legion Post 9/11, current post adjutant. She was selected as the Veteran of the Year for the state of Alabama. She's the Energizer Bunny of Veterans Affairs, I'm just telling you. Also, what you're looking at right now is our Post newsletter that's published by our Post Public Affairs Officer, Patricia Patty Douglas, won #1 in the nation for the American Legion as the #1 newsletter right here in Hoover, Alabama. And you're looking at it right there, so that's a pretty big deal. Also, I'd like to tell you that the American Legion Department of Alabama, they call them departments because there's 55 departments, and so we have overseas departments, is going to host the sub-regional baseball tournament in Pelham, Alabama this year. And the winner of that goes to the American Legion World Series. Also, Alabama's hosting the Legacy Run. The Legacy Run is a run that will start at the USS Alabama on the 21st of August and go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to raise money for scholarship money for any child whose father or mother was died on active duty or is over 50% disabled. The American Legion pays for their college or pays towards their college. So that's going to start here in the great state of Alabama. And also, our post, your post, the American Legion Post 9/11, we do Wreaths Across America in December at Curry Jefferson Cemetery, where we put wreaths on every veteran's grave in Curry Jefferson Cemetery, and Ginger's the driving force behind that. And there are almost 800 veterans buried at that cemetery. So I invite you to put that on your calendar. I think it's the 17th of December. We'll be out there putting up wreaths. And the last thing I've got is we have raised money through grant money for the total of $66,000 for the VA to support their homeless veterans program, their blind rehab program, and their veteran center program. Just got word the other day, we got a grant for $26,800 to buy golf carts for the VA clinic downtown. So I just wanted to take this time to tell you what your American Legion Post is doing, 333 strong, to support veterans in our community. And I appreciate your time and appreciate your support that we've got from you. And I thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you and Ms. Branson being with us tonight. Thank you both. We will now move to our consent agenda that's presented as items 6 through 11. The consent agenda is presented as items that will be voted on by one block unless there's a member of the body or a member of the public who is here tonight to speak on behalf of one of these items. So I would ask the members, is there any item 6 to 11, that you would like removed and moved to the regular agenda? Is there a member of the public that would like to have any item removed and moved to the regular? Seeing none, Mr. Corley, please read the consent.
Item number 6 is the approval of the minutes from the June 30, 2022 work session and the July 5th, 2022 meeting. Resolution 674822 authorizes Mayor Brocato to enter into a professional service agreement with Revere Control Systems for scope of work outlined in Exhibit A to the resolution. Resolution 674922 declares a public purpose for the cleanout of a drainage area affecting the public road right-of-way on the property located adjacent to the properties at 1400 Alcea Road and 3415, 3417, and 3421 Tequesta Lane for the safe and proper functioning of Alcea Road. Resolution 675022 authorizes the acceptance of the bid of Gillespie Construction in the amount of $302,208 for the turn lane extension on Valleydale Road at Jaguar Drive, bid number 22-014, authorizing Mayor Brocato to execute an agreement for such. Resolution 675322 authorizes Mayor Brocato or his designee to engage Raymond James and Associate Inc.'s Public Finance Investment Strategies Group to act as the city's investment advisor to conduct a bid process and invest $15 million in funds. Resolution 675422 amends the budget for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2022, as set forth in Exhibit A to the resolution.
Mr. President, I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second. We have a motion and second for approval of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. We'll now move to our regular agenda. We gathered on Thursday evening for a work session where various department heads walked us through each of these items, and members of the council had an opportunity to hear and question those. We'll begin the regular agenda with item number 12, resolution number 6751-22. Mr. Corley.
This resolution declares a weed and other vegetation nuisance and directs the abatement of thereof pursuant to Alabama law at locations in the city, specifically 2406 Gawain Drive, 1618 Russet Crest Lane, and 2337 Tyler Road.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6751-22.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Mr. Martin, anything to update us on tonight?
Yes, sir. Of course, since our meeting the other day, we had a couple of addresses that we're taking off of the list. I believe there were 3 that were cut to our satisfaction over the weekend, and that leaves us with 3 on the agenda. Those that the city attorney read off, we do find that they are still in need of nuisance declaration and abatement.
And for clarification, that's the Gawain Drive, Russet Crest Lane, and Tyler Road. Are there any questions from members of the body? I believe you have pictures in front of you of each of those 3. Any questions from members of the public on any of these 3 addresses or the resolution? Hearing and seeing none, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 13 is resolution number 6740-22. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval to allow for the operation of an event facility to include live entertainment within the premises on the property located at 2970 Lorna Road, Hoover, Alabama, with the conditions attached as Exhibit 2 to the resolution.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 6740-22.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Mr. Martin, I'm going to open the public hearing and allow you to begin, please.
Yes, as we went over on Thursday, this is a conditional use application for an expansion of the events facility campus there on Little Valley Road. This would be, of course, considered the coach house if conditional use is granted for this to be an entertainment venue. Of course, located at 2970 Lorna Road. Used to be an Alacare office facility and also a car lot before that. Planning Commission reviewed this item and gave it its unanimous approval for a recommendation, a positive recommendation to this body at their June meeting. The recommendation comes with the conditions, as Mr. Corley stated in the exhibit attached, that the property should be redeveloped in substantial conformity with the site, and a parking analysis should be performed prior to any additions onto the building.
Very good. We'll continue the public hearing by asking if there's a member of the body who has a question for Mr. Martin. I know Mr. Beard, the applicant, is here, and we'd be happy to take any questions, too, if anyone has any. No questions from the body. Is anyone here in the public like to speak at the public hearing in regard to the conditional use application? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. We have a motion and second for approval of the resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Mr. Beard, congratulations.
Thank you.
Item number 14 is ordinance number 22-2571. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends ordinance number 263 entitled the zoning ordinance of the city of Hoover, Alabama to rezone the property shown on Exhibit A aerial location map from PO Planned Office to PR1 or Planned Single Family Residential District.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of ordinance number 22-2571.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We will now open the public hearing and ask Mr. Martin to update us, please.
Yes, Mr. President, this is a PUD amendment for the International Park Plan Unit Development. It encompasses between 8 and 9 acres on the backside of the International Park PUD. This would establish a new PR1 single-family residential district in the International Park PUD. The PUD calls for not more than 7 townhomes and 1 single-family detached dwelling to take place and be developed within this 9 acres. Staff reviewed, as well as the Planning Commission, reviewed this particular plan unit development, and Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval at their June meeting. Be glad to entertain any questions.
Mr. President, I have a couple, if I may.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
A couple things. One, I know that there's been some small changes to the PUD ongoing. None of those are material changes. They're all to reflect the comments on planning and zoning, so don't require another reading or anything. They're all based on what came out of P&Z.
That's correct. The updated version of the plan unit development that was presented today to the council addresses the comments that we actually recommended approval be contingent on in Exhibit B on this ordinance. So there are no changes outside of that scope.
Okay, excellent, thank you. The second thing is one of the adjacent property owners that has commercial zoning had asked that we read on the record, or at least comment on what mainly regarding outdoor performances, I believe, what is the current zoning of the commercial adjacent property support?
The adjacent property as of right now is zoned PO Planned Office in the International Park Plan Unit Development. Under section 9.19 of the zoning ordinance, the ordinance allows for outdoor entertainment to occur not more than 12 calendar days per year. So theoretically, they could have an outdoor event for one of those particular properties for 12 calendar days spread out over the year. No event could take place more than 3 continuous days. So I want to bear that in mind. But they are eligible, the commercial properties are eligible to have some kind of event of that nature, not more than 12 calendar days without a conditional use approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. The landowner had requested that this be noted as we discuss this tonight.
Any other questions from the body? As part of the public hearing, or is there a member of the public who would like to comment on this item? Got a young man in the back that thought about it. Anyone else? All right, we will close the public hearing. We have a motion and second for approval. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Sweeney?
Aye.
Mr. Shaw?
Aye.
Mr. Murphy?
Aye.
Dr. Middlebrooks?
Aye.
Mr. McClinton?
Aye.
Mr. Lyda?
Aye. It's a vote of 7 ayes, 0 nays. The motion carries and the ordinance is adopted. Congratulations, Mr. Mosley. I believe he's here. Now we'll have first readings for a few items, beginning with item number 15. It's a resolution number 6744-22. Mr. Corley.
This resolution declares a weed and other vegetation nuisance at 2112 Blue Ridge Boulevard, Hoover, Alabama, and directs the abatement of such nuisances pursuant to Alabama law. A public hearing is set for August 1st, 2022.
Picture's worth 1,000 words. So that's the current condition of the property on the overhead. We will continue to monitor this property. If it is self-abated before it becomes our turn to deal with it, we will be glad to let you know.
Very good. Mr. Martin, we'll keep update on that one, and we'll see you again on August 1st for a public hearing and potential vote should it not get cleaned up. We'll move to item number 16, and it's my understanding, Mr. Martin, this one has been remedied.
Yes, sir. This one at 3240 Galleria Circle has been remedied. It has been cut to our satisfaction. It looks really good.
That's resolution number 6752-22. I'll entertain a motion to withdraw.
Mr. President, I move to withdraw resolution number 6752-22.
Second.
We have a motion second for withdrawal of the resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Excuse me, item number 17 is ordinance number 22-2572. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends the zoning ordinance of Hoover, Alabama as set forth in the ordinance. This ordinance amends Article 9 supplemental regulations concerning 1, private swimming pools constructed below grade, 2, fences, walls, and structures and easements, and 3, fences and walls in front yards. A public hearing is set for August 1st, 2022.
Mr. Martin reviewed all of these in work session Thursday night, so we'll gather again for the work session for the August 1st meeting. And Mr. Martin, if we could just review those one more time at that time and in preparation for the August 1st meeting.
Sure thing.
Thank you. Item number 18 for our first reading, ordinance number 22-2573. Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends the Hoover Municipal Code to modify Chapter 11.5-7 Hoover Metropolitan Complex Advisory Committee as set forth in the ordinance. This ordinance will allow for the date, time, and location of the meetings to be set by the committee chair. A public hearing is set for August 1, 2022.
Very good. And we'll gather again on August 1st for that public hearing and potential vote. We'll now ask if there's any comments from the council tonight. I know I speak on behalf of each of my colleagues on saying what a thrill and honor it was for the city of Hoover to be a part of the World Games. Many of us had the opportunity to travel around many different venues, and I'll warn you, I'm going to let my bias show, no one did it better than we did. Our staff continued to showcase why we continue to be the home of the SEC. And of course, we get a lot of practice, Mayor, every May in delivering a great show. But our folks at the Hoover Met Complex, our staff, our PD, our support staff just did an outstanding job. I can't think, in my years here, I don't know that I've had more pride in the city as watching our United States softball team win gold. That was incredibly special. At the conclusion of the game, the mayor and I had an opportunity to meet with Miss Bing Chu Lo, who serves as the first vice chairman of the World Baseball and Softball Confederation. Miss Lo had the honor of presenting gold medals to the winning United States softball team, and after doing that, presented the mayor and I with a token of the Confederation's appreciation, and I will try to get that out without breaking it and show it to everyone, but I'll read it. It says, "The World Games 2022 presented to the Hoover City Council in recognition of your contribution to the organization of the event and for your great support to the international family of softball." I accepted this on behalf of the council, and this will be placed in our conference room back here where it will serve as a memory of what we did together as a city to host what I think was a world-class event. And I know I speak for each of us on how honored we were to be a part of that. So thank you to each and every person who made that possible. Yes, sir.
After that, I had one question for Mr. Martin. I know the council has gotten a lot of email about some zoning, like zoning case and Trace Crossings, and I know the legal team has been looking at this. I know you're still working on it though, and I was just going to ask if you could, as soon as your analysis is done, if you could forward that to the council.
Sure, we'll be glad to.
Okay, thank you. That was all.
Very good. It was also suggested, Ms. Branson, would you honor us with a picture? We would like to have our picture made with the Veteran of the Year as recognized by the American Legion. Would you join us up here for a picture, please? Ms. Posey Joseph, would you mind taking that for us? Thank you.
You just killed the whole buzz.
I know, sorry. That's my job. I'm an IT guy.
Any other comments from the body tonight?